bet you watch the Lorcana Dads.
All right, hey, everybody. How is
Hey, hey,
everybody out there? It's Jason. He's here.
yeah,
He's
here
back.
today.
He's here
Yep.
today. So how you been doing, buddy?
I've been
Working
pretty
all the
good, just,
time?
busy with work and kids and
Hmm.
finding time where I'm not dead tired to film a video with you.
Yep, I got you. Look, we've been playing a little Lorcana though. Even if we hadn't been filming, we've gotten to play a little
Yeah.
bit. So we are a week into the LGS release of
Yep.
Archazia's Island. How you feeling about it?
Pretty good. I enjoyed the sealed events that we did,
Hmm.
and I'm starting to gather my deck together. I won't play tomorrow because we're gonna have some bad weather in our area,
Hmm.
but
He did move it
pretty
to 11, so
yeah.
maybe if it goes away, well, I still think it might be rough in the morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna be extra cautious, and I kind of encourage everybody to be extra cautious in weather events. But I think I'm going to play blue steel for our area because we'll have aggro.
That's what
And then
I've been
red,
thinking about. I've been looking at what I want to build, but
right?
you can't build for our area. And you can't build for our area and expect to go really anywhere else and
No,
be competitive. So you have to almost have two decks.
yeah, I'll have a red blue for outside of our area just
Yeah.
so that I feel more comfortable with that against blue steel outside of our area.
Hmm. I've really thought about, I think the Jafar wheel might come back in this time.
I think it'll catch people by surprise.
I've really looked at it because there's some really good Jafar cards out there. That
Hmm.
like that new one that gives somebody Challenger +2, great
Hmm.
card. And I know the Giant Cobra isn't Jafar, but it is Jafar. It's a really great
Yeah,
card. You could build a really good. I think there's some upgrades to the Jafar wheel. Is that what I think I'm trying to say? I think now you could really
yeah,
play it. You could play a Jafar deck, really, of almost all Jafar cards.
yes, yeah, yeah.
And I
And
think
I
him
mean they're
coupled,
building him up for that last set anyways.
yeah.
So
Build, I think you could couple him with the Queen card, which I actually have her right here. I think this one's going to see some. Oh, she's got some green spots, obviously.
yeah.
But I think this one, being able to put some cards from the discard into the deck is going to be a. I think it'll be a healthy part of playing against the red, blue, and blue still this time. Once you get
Yep.
their items off the board, getting them out where they cannot access them with Tamatoa again.
Well, that's the thing is, just because you banish my items or make me discard cards, they're almost safer in the discard for the
Then they
most
are.
part. So being able to access the discard or hideaway is going to be a necessity.
Yeah.
It was always I ran two of them last set because I expected a mirror in the red blue matches,
Hmm.
but I might increase that.
Yeah, I could see that. I really think I don't think the meta has shook out yet.
No.
I know Tomato and Scrooge are really gonna affect it,
Hmm.
but I think that the other colors are gonna have some healthy growth too, if growth is the right word. I think everybody jumped on buying Scrooge and Tamatoa because of that 50-person event or that big event that happened right after the
Yeah.
release.
One event doesn't make a meta.
No.
It'll help and it'll help you get an idea of what's good, but you don't really have an idea of the level of competition, who they had to play, and what they had to play against
Right.
to get to the top.
Right.
I'm not taking anything away from them. Winning's winning. It doesn't matter who
Yeah.
you won against, really. But to map out a meta, you kind of need to know a little bit of that.
You gotta play, you gotta see a lot of top players play, not just one tournament.
Right.
I think that brings us to kind of a next topic that's circulating in the community right now is will we see a rotation in Lorcana? I think from talking to you outside of the videos, I think that's the healthy next step within the
Yeah, it'll
next
keep
set
things
or two,
fresh.
just to keep it. I also think it'll help even the playing field because we've got such not even the playing field, but it'll allow new players that are coming in that don't have access to sets one, really set one. You can still get set two, but that don't have access to the set one cards. It'll give them the chance to still be competitive players.
Yeah. You're always going to need that freshness, and other games have lived by rotation.
Hmm.
You know, Pokemon's got it, Magic's had it for decades. So I know it's coming eventually. It's hard to speculate when.
So I've never played any of the games. How early did it come into? Do you know how early it came into like Magic and stuff?
I don't have the exact
Yeah,
numbers on that, but they're mostly at a 2 year, and that's where we're at. And that's why the speculation is happening right now
gotcha.
because we're 2 years out from first
So will you
chapter.
start? So speaking, I don't know a lot about that. So does it just drop off like just steadily? Does a set drop off, or will they jump and say, okay, no longer are sets 1 and 3 playable? Or do they just steadily kind of the oldest sets fall off the rotation?
It's usually the oldest set. The different companies have a different way, but
Gotcha.
some are older sets, and then some of them are like
I got
quarterly.
you. So you'll lose two, possibly three sets, depending
Right.
on because we're getting a set every quarter at least.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what cards do you feel? I have like two or three cards that I feel like are really going to shape play this time. Do you have any that you feel like are really going to influence it? Other than everybody has seen Tamatoa. We know the new
Yeah.
Tamatoa, and I don't think the new Scrooge is that great, if you want me to be honest.
Uh,
Um,
Scuttle came out with set four.
mhm,
He is basically Scuttle with the addition of you can exert the four items and play them for free.
gotcha,
Um, I don't know that I want to have so many turns that I have four items to exert to play them for free.
gotcha.
Um, I played against a version of the item deck, and if you're just playing items, you have no bodies out there,
Right.
and
You're not questing
you
enough. I mean, I
can
watched you
use
play those matches. Yeah,
you can use Maurice's workshop to draw cards off of, and that's why that's going up in price. But you have no bodies to really do anything.
yeah,
So if you have taken four turns, even with Bell eating an item and maybe, some stuff in there, your items are just basically replacing themselves. You're
right.
not really advancing yourself to an end game because, hey, you put out 10 items, you lasted long enough to put out 10 items. If you play a Tamatoa, well, I'm probably going to play a Maleficent Dragon and get rid of
Get rid
that.
of him. You're gonna cook that crab. Cook him
Yeah.
like a crab
Or,
bowl.
you'll probably see World's Greatest Criminal Mind be more popular.
Right. To get rid of those high
High
strength
strength
characters.
characters.
Yeah.
Any kind of damage dealer is going to be good against Tamatoa because in the item deck specifically.
Yeah.
And then Dime can just sit there if it needs to.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait
I
for you to
think
get.
I think
Yeah.
going full item is not the way to go right now. I think a lot of people are doing that with the Oswalds and stuff, trying to get free items and free card draws and do those little combos that are fun in the first couple weeks.
But then they're not. If you don't have bodies on the table, there's nothing you can do.
I still think the Maui Shark action version is stronger in those colors.
Yeah. Well, to me, so the car I haven't gotten to play with a deck built for this. All I've played were the two release events. I've started building some decks. Two of the cards that I really liked in the sealed were the new four uninkable Pascal with evasive. He's the yellow
Yeah,
purple dual link. I thought he was a really good card.
it was tough.
He was tough, and I think a purple a amber amethyst aggro deck is going to be a contender. It may not be a contender in the
Yeah.
big stuff, but we're going to see it. You and I will see it in Tuscaloosa. We know this. And when they
It
start adding evasives to it, it gets even stronger, I think, because
yeah.
sometimes it's hard to deal with evasives.
Evasive aggro is going to be tough. Targeted removal is always going to get rid of them. They'll
Hmm.
have a tough time against the blue steel, I think, because
Yeah.
Bell comes out so early. But I still do agree that Pascal 3/3 questing for three and evasive is going to be a
Yeah.
tough one to deal with.
And then I really liked the new green. I think he's green. I don't have him on my. I looked over at my new desk because I know I have a chameleon right there. The new Pacha. He probably won't see much play in the mainstream, but in sealed he was fun to play with. You
Yeah.
know, he quested for a lot if I had more cards in my hand. So
Yeah.
maybe in a green steel discard or in a discard deck of any kind, he could get you questioned a lot earlier for a lot more earlier. I shouldn't say a lot, but a lot more.
He'll be a decent closer. If you have any way of giving him ward, I think
Yeah.
that's the way to look into it.
Do you think in this meta we're going to see green blue be a contender
Yeah, I think so.
with the ink
Um,
geyser?
Ink Geyser is going to be an interesting card. I don't know that it will be tier one. I think it'll be probably a tier two deck. Probably be pretty difficult to play if I have to guess. Because things are going to have to go in a certain order to
Right. Right.
be able to do that. But if you can pull it off and you can keep some of these blue Sapphire Steel or Sapphire Ruby,
Hmm.
keep those decks off of 7 ink or 8 ink or whatever. Uh, I think
Well, then
that can clutch
they
out the
can't get
game.
bodies on the table, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have 8 ink, you can't put Tamatoa on the table.
Yeah.
Or six. What is he at now? He's a six, maybe. I
The
don't.
the new one's a 6.
Yeah, but the
The
old one's an
the other
eight,
one's
right?
still 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I really, y'all know I'm a purple steel player. I really think in the big matches, purple steel will have a contend will be a contender, especially when we find him in platinum. I think that Benja, there's a lot of combinations, and I really will stand by it. I think we'll see the queen bump on up there. I think we'll see her, and it calls you, which lets me draw a card and then put cards back in your deck, which I
I
think
used
both of
it.
those will help.
It calls me the one cost song. I used it in my green purple deck for a little while as
Hmm.
a tech against the Lilos.
Right, zombie
So I
Lilo.
don't
That's yeah,
see why it wouldn't really work against, Dime is your major
your major issue.
problem.
I even think a popsicle going back in their hand can be if they get one more draw, you know.
Yeah. Anything like that, if you're trying to stop them from getting more resources,
Yeah.
any way that you can prevent that. And I guess that goes on to the question of, or I don't really have to phrase it. People calling certain cards bad cards. They don't want to have to play a quote unquote bad card to deal with these decks. And I don't know that it's really a problem for me to add a couple cards just to
Mm-mm.
deal with something I know I'm going to see.
Well, I
'Cause-
think it all comes down to the player. Some people we've had this conversation that some people don't want to play against these big decks because they don't want to do what's necessary to beat them.
yeah.
They don't want to play, but I don't think a card's bad if it's helping you win, is it? That seems weird to say.
Everybody's going to have bring their different idea to the table, and
Hmm.
I'm no pro by any means, but a lot of people have the approach to it that they'll put the best cards they can into a deck for that 60 card deck and hope to better 80 something percent of the field or whatever,
Right,
and just hope that luck prevents them from ever seeing the decks that would have difficulties for.
right. Well, I think it also
Versus
brings up that question of 60 cards. Can we play more than that? Everything I'm looking at building right now is 65 plus, just to
by the
have all the cards I want.
by the book, 60 is optimal.
Right.
It is on the player to decide if they want to be suboptimal. Uh, I It's probably sacrilegious. I run, I'll run 62, I'll run 63. I'll be suboptimal, but I'll also top four, top two. Did that 3 extra cards stop me from going to top two or final, champion? I don't think it did.
No, but did that as four extra cards help you get to top four?
Yeah. I think those extra develop your brains I added in there that aren't, you know, are on the cutting room floor of everybody else's deck. I think they helped me a little bit.
Well, sometimes the director's cut is a better movie, Jason.
But
Sometimes when
yeah,
those extra footage is in there, it makes a better movie.
we don't
I,
have sideboards. We don't have sideboards right now, which a sideboard is you have so many extra cards you can add to the side
mhm.
that in between games in a match that you can adjust your deck in other games. We don't have that. So if I can make my deck more well-rounded, that's my approach to it.
Right. I agree 100%. I think once or twice I've had a deck that has 60 cards. Usually I'm running 63 or 65 just because that's one more copy of at least 2 to 3 cards that I think I need one or two more copies of.
Well, that's the thing is like I'm not gonna add three one ofs. Like I'm not gonna add three single just one random card that I, hope to see. It'll still have consistency in that, I'm gonna add three of a something,
Yeah.
just to tech to against something.
That's usually what mine is. It's adding another card and three of, or four of, or
Yeah.
2 cards and three of, just to get us past that point.
And
Um,
don't get me wrong, I'm not recommending that other people start the game and start muddling their decks up.
no, no. If you're new to
I'm
this,
saying that
60
me
cards.
personally, Jason, have gotten away with, running a little bit of a fatter deck.
But I also consider you a very good player. You and I haven't been able to play in a lot of the really big stuff, but you're a good
Yeah.
player. You understand the game and you do really well. I
I
think a lot of the times your matchups, the ones that you are your unfavorable matchups, you do well in those. It's not, or yours is a dice roll. It comes down to you got to crap into the dice roll.
There have been a few times where I can go back and analyze and say, I overextended, I misplayed by adding too much on the board and being susceptible to something.
Yeah.
But uh the last two set championships, and set championships, aren't, you know, very high level play. They're not high level at all, really. They're pretty lower level. Those last two where I top forward and top two'd, I just one had a bad matchup and two didn't see the cards I needed at the time I needed to.
All right, I glitched out on you for a minute.
That's
I
fine.
don't think it was I was getting a phone call. Um, I agree. I agree 100% with everything you've said. I think, and I don't think you say set champions aren't that high level, but that's where we see the highest level that you and I get to play against. That brings out the best from every brings out the best from every area, so to speak.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah,
Well, I would like to I'm hoping to make a DLC
yeah,
this year if,
I'd like to do that again, and I'd
things
play
map
very
out that
differently
way.
this time. But I think that's a conversation for another day. Of I would play very differently. I
Right.
would not play a Joey cooked up. I would play a little more. I hate to say it, I'd play a little more unless I see something I build really start doing well. So, you know, anyway,
The main thing is whatever you're playing, play it a lot
and know it. Yep.
and know it. That way, certain things that you may add that aren't quite meta, you know what you're expecting when you see it.
Yep. Well, guys, we've covered a lot tonight. I think we're caught up. We're gonna see the big box release next
Yeah.
Friday. And after this time, we will see LGS on a Friday the week before and big box with everywhere the next week.
Yeah.
So they're
That's going to be a
changing just
new
a new
drop with
format.
a pre-release event, a legitimate pre-release and not a release event.
Yeah. So, well, I hope everybody. I've put out a good bit of content in the past week. I'm gonna slow down a little
Very good
bit.
content
I'm
too.
trying to keep it going.
I enjoyed
Um,
that table build.
my table looks cool. I wish I could flip the camera and show it, but it's kind of I'm building a deck over here, so it's kind of messy over here. Um, I've appreciated y'all's views. We've started seeing some peaks, and we need followers, we need subscribers, we need
Yeah.
likes, all that good stuff. So, all right, Jason, anything else you want to add tonight?
No, it was a good talk.
Good
Hope I
talk.
didn't
Good
lead
talk.
anybody astray just because I do something a certain way.
Well, hey, it's opinions. We know what those are.
Yeah.
But people like, sometimes hearing somebody else, they might be on the fence about two cards, and they're going to go, "Hey, I'll add those two cards." Because I've done it. I've been
Yep.
like, "No, 60 cards," but then
I,
sometimes,
I will always recommend somebody else do 60 cards.
yeah, if you are new to the game, 60 cards keeps your deck more predictable. More you
Yes.
go up, percentage wise, you are less predictable. But maybe we do a whole deck building video. Who knows?
Maybe.
All right. Anyway, Jason, I will talk to you later.
See you.
See you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And don't forget to smash that like button.
And hit that share for our friends on the other side.
And don't forget to turn on all those bell notifications.
And we'll see you on the next video.